We are back and the elves are on their way. So if you are going to use my breakable geometric heart kits for the elf is back, I have a little video here where one kit will produce 2 hearts for you. So all you need is the silicone mold, 2 bags of melting candies, and 2 bowls to melt them in. Let's get started. Here we obviously need to wash and prep our mold. We're going to use a basic vodka to just sort of wipe it clean. That'll evaporate and it'll help give the chocolate coating a very nice shine. So I went ahead and followed all the instructions on how to melt the coating, and we're going to pour that into the mold and make sure every part of the mold is covered with the melting candy or the melting coating. Be sure to cover all corners and ridges. The geometric heart can be a little bit tricky when it comes to the edges, so that's why we go ahead and do a second coat. So what we're going to do is fill this up first, make sure everything's covered. We're going to tap down onto the table to release any air bubbles that we discussed in a previous video, dump out the extras, we put it in the fridge for a couple minutes, come back, touch up the edges, and then put it back into the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes until it's solid and ready to go. Okay, we are back. Our red geometric heart is ready to be removed from the silicone component. What we're going to do first is start with the edges, make sure those release nicely so we don't break them, and then pull back and release the entire heart from the silicone mold. As you can see from the video, we dumped out the extra red candy melts onto our silicone sheet and restored that to the side after it solidified. Now we went ahead and melted the green candy melts, or the candy chocolate coating, whatever you'd prefer to call it. And now we're covering the washed and again prepped silicone geometric heart with now the green, so we can produce our second heart from our single kit. After we tap down to release the air bubbles, dump out the extra, we're going to go ahead and place it in the fridge for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and touch up the edges. I missed filming the edge touch up on the red heart, so I have some little touch ups here with the green heart. You can see how I just went around just to make sure when I release the corners, nothing breaks, especially in that peak there. That's really important. Here I am misusing a knife again. Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm trying to use basic household equipment that everybody should have. There are a lot of items that professionals have in their house, and it's easy. I even have some cheat items that make things a lot easier. But with this video, I'm trying to show you that you can do this with your basic household items. So everyone should have a knife at home. Just be very careful when you use it. Clean up the edges so you have a nice straight edge. Once it's been in the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes, you can go ahead again, remove it, release the corners. Make sure you're very careful with that peak there, and then we removed our green heart. So now comes the fun part. We have our 2 hearts from our one kit, a red and a green, and we can decorate. We have some extra green off to the side and an extra red. I went ahead and found some candy canes. If you don't have any candy canes, if you have some kind of glitter, or if you don't have anything at all, we're just going to use some of the chocolate. I went ahead and used the candy canes that I did happen to have, grabbed some of the extra red candy melts, and I put them in the piping bag that the candy If you're using my kits, I have candy that come in a piping bag. You would dump the candy out into a bowl, and then you would use the piping bag for decorating. A little packaging trick I have there, so there's no waste. Okay, so we went ahead and melted the red candy melts, and here I am just drizzling off to the corner. You just cut a small hole in the piping bag at the bottom, and while the chocolate is still wet, you add some of the crushed candy canes or whatever it is that you crushed, or if you had sprinkles or edible glitter, whatever it is that you had around that you wanted to use. And we're doing a little bit extra also at the bottom, just to kind of give it a top and a bottom there. And as you can see, if you have a silicone mat or if you're using wax paper beneath you, that chocolate, that melting coating chocolate that went off to the side, it won't be wasted. You'll keep that. You'll just kind of scrape it up with a knife, and this is so satisfying here to watch. I slowed it down for you. All right, so we are on heart number 2. Here I'm just showing you how to make a little collar for our little elf. Our little elf heart, just a little spatula and knife to sort of flatten it. We did 3 little dots for buttons. The next little trick that I have, if you don't have a mold for letters, you can just print something out, put a wax paper on top, and use your piping bag to trace the letters. I feel like in this video I should have done a little bit of larger letters, but I went ahead and used the little paper that I had printed anyway. I am not a calligraphy person. I'm not talented with calligraphy. I'm left-handed, and I always joke that God does not give with both hands, so to keep me completely honest, I went ahead and showed you what my writing looked like anyway, just so you know that nobody's perfect and we all make mistakes. I kind of like how the second one turned out. It looks almost as if the elf, he himself, wrote it. It was adorable. So then you would put your elf with some treats under the heart, and the children, or whoever the elf is coming back for, would break open the heart, and the elf will be back. You can always include a little note with a message from the North Pole as well. Thank you for watching my video. If you're interested in purchasing my kit that produces 2 hearts, please see the link down below. Thank you so much.